What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Prop Queen Pod here on this Wednesday. I'm Ariel Epstein. So much going on today. Oh my goodness, there are so many headlines in sports, trades in the NFL that no one saw coming. I'm really excited about them, to be honest. Day baseball, Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, injuries that are having a massive impact in the NBA. Troy Perlowitz is going to come on from NHL.com. He's going to help us with some Stanley Cup playoff props. You know, I can't really do hockey, so we finally have someone to come on. I know I didn't really give hockey any love yesterday. I'm sorry. It's like the best playoffs out there. Yet I struggle with it, so I don't want to give you guys any losers. Losers were not a thing last night. We've pretty much on the propqueen.com newsletter had an excellent evening, including Jessica Brand. She went 1-1 in her props yesterday. This afternoon, my strikeout props went 1-1 at the newsletter. Premium subscribers at the propqueen.com newsletter were able to get some afternoon strikeout props. Of course, everything that's on the newsletter is not like, oh, bet all of these. Like, it's not a pick service. It's just an information service. So make sure to go check it out. Went 1-1. Logan Allen, he is the death of me. I probably am never going Logan Allen K props again. Robbie Ray, he went under his 5.5K prop. Thank goodness. I was very nervous about that strikeout prop. Robbie Ray ends up coming back into the game at like 90 pitches. And it was like the 6th inning. I said, oh my gosh, he has 5 strikeouts. He needs to either give up a hit or get through this 6th inning with just contact. Sure enough, 3 contact outs. Robbie Ray goes under his 5.5K prop against the Cubbies. Now against the Cubs, 2-7 over under their K prop, righty or lefty starters against them, averaging like 3 strikeouts a game. The Cubs just are not striking out. Anytime that you bet the Cubs, go and take an under against them when it comes to strikeout props. Not a lot of viewers today on this show. I need to probably tweet out that the show is live. This is my issue. I always think, oh, people just know the show is live. And then I end up realizing, no, they don't. Maybe if I retweet now construction's going on in my apartment. You can't make this up. I am going to retweet this right now and say, we are live. Tune in now. For some reason, people don't really get the alert that we are live on X. They just like it comes up on the right-hand side. I have to like retweet it. Anyway. Oh, thanks guys for setting up alerts. Here is where the Prop Queen newsletter was right yesterday. This isn't the end. We've got 2. I couldn't fit it into the whole screen because we had so many winners yesterday. First, Donovan Mitchell had another huge performance against the Pacers. He put up 48 points, going over his 28.5, 29.5 points prop. Mitchell has hit 30-plus points in 3 of 4 against Indiana this season. Tyrese Halliburton went under his 10.5 assist prop with 4. He's gone under 10.5 assists now in 13 of 16 career playoff games. Minnesota Timberwolves power forward Julius Randle went under his 20.5 points prop with 18 points. He's now gone under 20.5 points in all 5 games against Golden State this year. T-Wolves shooting guard Anthony Edwards went under his 27.5, 28.5 points prop with 23 points. Edwards has gone over 28.5 points just once in 5 starts this year against the Warriors. More winners from yesterday. T-Wolves power forward Jaden McDaniels went under his 13.5 points prop. He had 12 points. He's now had 12 or less points in 4 of 5 games against the Warriors. Baseball. Nathan Eovaldi. Good job, Mr. Eovaldi, for going to the Red Sox, back to Fenway. Revenge game, goes over 5.5 Ks. He's been great against the Red Sox. They have a high K rate, and yet he continues to get those strikeouts. Sean Burke goes under 3.5 Ks with just 2 in 6 1/3. Justin Verlander. This one was fun because I gave this out to a few people privately who don't like to be named, but they do gamble. And they were like, Verlander plus 106. Like, I can't fade this guy. Like, he's Verlander. He's a legend, but I'll do it because you say so. He went under 4.5 Ks with just 3 strikeouts in 5 innings. Again, you got to go under against the Cubbies. Jessica Brand, Max Strus, 10 or more points. Yeah, he had 23. That was a no sweat. Easy one. PQ newsletter was wrong on the Pascal Siakam 6.5 rebounds prop. He had just 6. We just missed that one. Jessica Brand had the under on Tony Gonsolin K's. He had 8 against the Marlins. The Marlins are a toughie, guys. You can't really fade the Marlins. They strike out an absolute ton. So I have no interest now from learning that lesson in fading the Marlins really anytime soon. We've got a lot to get through today, and I just want to make sure that I have everything that I need with telling you guys winners. We've got Troy Perlowitz coming on at 5:15 to talk Stanley Cup playoffs. This was the big news of the day. The Dallas Cowboys get George Pickens, the wide receiver from Pittsburgh. Oh, you guys have no idea how much, as a Ravens fan, this makes me so freaking happy. I couldn't have been happier. I had absolutely zero interest as a Ravens fan with George Pickens and DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh. The Ravens no longer have to worry about George Pickens, who has destroyed them, at least in one game a year, goes for 100 plus. This was what made me laugh, though. Bleacher Report tweeting out NFC East absolutely loaded with just the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. Although I can't even say that the Cowboys are like fully loaded. Sorry, guys. I mean, come on. You still have the third best odds to win the NFC East. The Eagles favored at -145. Commanders at +240. You guys have no idea how hard it is for me to not say commies. The Commanders, my group chat calls them the commies. I might get canceled for that, but it's a great shortened word for it. The Dallas Cowboys at 5-1, Giants at 26-1. Yeah, disrespect for sure, but the Cowboys, I don't trust them. Can't win big games. That's the thing with the NFC least. They're a really fun division, so you can't really call it like the NFC least anymore. They're really fun. You just never know. Whether they're really good or really bad, you just never know. Yeah, I thought I was hallucinating too. I couldn't believe that this trade happened. So here's what the Steelers wide receiver room looks like minus George Pickens, DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Robert Woods, Ben Skowronek, Lance McCutcheon. I mean, it's not that great. It's a very interesting move. I guess they were opening up some cap space maybe for Aaron Rodgers. Maybe Aaron Rodgers wants more money. The Steelers have to be desperate at this point for a quarterback. You're in a division with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, the mess in Cleveland, but you've got to get past the Ravens and the Bengals. Did the Steelers' futures odds shift? I was looking for that, but whether they shifted or not, the Ravens and Bengals were always your front runners anyway. The Steelers, their odds are probably going to move a little bit once they like solidify a quarterback. The book has to be sitting there just like waiting for them to sign a quarterback. I'm just assuming that they needed more money for Rodgers, and I'm confused as to what Pittsburgh's doing. I do trust the Steelers. Listen, they've got Mike Tomlin as their head coach, who's always above 500. The Steelers have a great organization. Of course, I'm not going to bet on them to win a Super Bowl. Steelers to make the playoffs, though, you still just never know. Would I bet it? No. This division's super tough. The Bengals probably bounced back after a bad year last year. The Ravens, they're the favorites, of course. They've gotten better. They had a great draft, and I'm not saying that because I'm a homer. I am, of course, a little worried about the Ravens. Heard that the kicker that they drafted, really good from deep and horrible from short. So that's going to be a blast. Yeah, the Steelers odds, I don't know. That'll be interesting. But, of course, my day was great because this happened. Like, it was a great start to the day. Now, everything was going really, really well for me today. This morning, I woke up, had a winning night, afternoon baseball. Cowboys end up getting George Pickens. Steelers don't have him. Everything was going really, really well until I heard this.
the Baltimore Ravens were going to pick me. I think it was a 25th pick that they had in the draft. But then Denver and Josh McDaniels came scooping in and traded with the Baltimore Ravens. The Denver Broncos took Tim Tebow. I just got booted out of the first round. The Ravens have the 43rd pick now. Well, then the New England Patriots got a sniff of it, and they traded up one spot before the Baltimore Ravens at number 42, where I got drafted. I also heard through a grapevine that if I didn't get drafted to the New England Patriots, Greg Olsen was going to get traded that day for a draft pick to the New England Patriots because the Patriots were looking for a tight end.
So Gronk was supposed to be a Raven? You've got to be kidding me. That's ruined my day. Could you imagine Gronk as a Raven? That would have been insanity. So Rob Gronkowski, just to draft here. Rob Gronkowski was drafted in 2010. I have to think back to the Ravens like that long. I mean, 2010. So what the Ravens have had legends like Todd Heap, Mark Andrews. I even like Dennis Pitta. Gronk? Now, granted, who knows if he would have been the same without a Brady? That's always going to be the argument. I just find it to be absolutely insane of a thought process to think Gronk could have been a Raven. Anyway, these are your AFC North odds. These are your NFC East odds. So again, congratulations to Dallas. You got better with George Pickens. You still have a quarterback that has not proven himself all this time. Now, before I let Troy Perlowitz on from NHL.com to talk Stanley Cup playoffs, there was one other bit of news that was pretty big. Steph Curry is going to be reevaluated in 1 week, so Steph is not going to be playing for the Warriors in Game 2. That's huge, obviously. I mean, Steph Curry not being part of the Warriors. Of course, this Warriors team goes super deep. Now, their game is tomorrow in Minnesota at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I didn't get around, unfortunately, to looking at the Warriors' stats with Jimmy Butler without Steph Curry because there's not much of a sample size there. I will say that you could start looking at some props for tomorrow. Maybe you get some good numbers on the Warriors when it comes to someone like Pods or Pat Spencer sees an uptick as well in his numbers. So you could look to Pat Spencer and Pods replacing Steph Curry. Jimmy Butler and Draymond, that's going to be really interesting because you'd assume Jimmy Butler then has to score more. Draymond could take on more of that defensive role again. Maybe we could get some Draymond rebounds plus assists. I know I keep going back to it. I say it's dead. It's not ever really dead, is it? I know Buddy Hield is another name. I was talking to some people, though, that talked about minutes, and it's definitely the biggest uptick in Pat Spencer's minutes. So you might get a good underrated price on his points prop. I always love Pods, though. Love Podziemski. So we'll see about that. FYI, Warriors have a 4-day break next week from Wednesday to Sunday. Interesting. Well, doesn't that mean that they would have to win first? 4-day break. So anyway. 1-2 this season, averaged 101.7 per game. The Warriors, you're saying, Jessica. I have all the stats with no Curry but Butler. Just let me know. Yes, I would love that, Jessica. We could definitely have that tomorrow. We will talk about the Warriors tomorrow with no Curry and yes to Butler. Pods has been quiet in the playoffs. Yeah, but we'll see what happens without Steph. I've got a lot to get to in today's NBA slate. We'll get to that after Troy Perlowitz comes on because he's going to join us right now to talk all about the Stanley Cup playoffs, which I completely did not talk about at all yesterday because I only tried to help you guys out. Troy Perlowitz joining the show. Thank you so much for coming on again.
Thanks so much for having me. Had a great time last week, so appreciate you having me back on.
Let me tell you, when you came off the show, and then the next day, you did really well when you came up here. You gave a lot of winners out. People in the chat were going absolutely nuts for you. So I'm really glad that we're going to have you back on today. Any trends that you've noticed so far that really stands out?
Well, generally throughout the playoffs, scoring has been up. It's the highest scoring playoffs so far since the early 90s. I don't expect that to continue, to tell you the truth. The goalies are better. So as we go deeper into the playoffs, we have better teams. Yes, you have better offenses, but the defenses and the goaltenders get better. The game kind of shrinks as the intensity gets up. So there's not a lot of room on the ice for a lot of creative goal scoring. So I don't anticipate goal scoring being this high as we move on further into the playoffs. But for right now, they're up, and then the league will love to tell you that how goal scoring is up. But that's the biggest trend that we've seen in the first round, at least.
And people love when goals are scored, and it brings eyeballs for sure. You like a lot of that tonight. Nope, I did this wrong again. I'm going to this first game. This one is Toronto and Florida, 7 p.m. Toronto has a 1-0 series lead. You like a lot of Austin Matthews tonight. Why?
So he was held off the score sheet in game one, but so he had 5 shots on goal. So he hit the over on shots on goal. He had 11 shot attempts, which is led all players in the league and one of his highest shot attempt totals of the playoffs so far. I see a lot of those shots, by the way, came from the middle of the ice. So he's getting shots from in between the dots and from the slot. So I like him for points. Could be a goal tonight. I certainly see Toronto if they score, him being involved. His line with Matthew Nyes and Mitch Marner, they were outshot, but they had the quality. The quantity was in favor of Florida when they were on the ice, but the quality was in favor of Toronto. So they were generating a lot of high quality scoring chances when that trio was on the ice. Matthew Nyes is my second pick from Toronto. He was I thought he was one of their best players in game one. He was super noticeable. He scored the 5th goal and the eventual game winner. Came right off of a rush from a nice pass from Marner, and he buried it. He's one of those versatile players where he has a very good shot. He's fast. He's the perfect player to play with Marner and Matthews, who are so skilled offensively that you kind of want to play with that player who is not afraid to go into the corners and dig out the puck and retrieve pucks off rebounds. He's kind of that perfect player, and can score from anywhere on the ice. Doesn't need to be in front. His goal was the 4th high danger goal of the playoffs, which leads all playoff performers so far. So he's always around the net, and kind of that perfect complement to Matthews and Marner. On the Florida side, well, look, they're down 1-0. They should be the desperate team tonight. I expect them to be the desperate team tonight. I don't think that they're afraid of being down 1-0. We saw they went down twice in their 1-0 during their cup run last year. I don't expect them to be afraid of the moment. Sam Bennett made some news for other reasons other than getting on the score sheet in game one. He was responsible for Anthony Stolarz, the goaltender from Toronto, having to be removed from the game. I expect him to be involved. He was super noticeable for Florida in game one. Beyond that, he had 7 shots on goal. 4 of them were from high danger. So he was all over the ice and creating a lot of offense. And Sam Reinhart, same first name as Bennett, but a different last name. If Toronto is expected to go with Joseph Wall in net as a replacement, he's a very similar goaltender to Anthony Stolarz, which is he's very good from the tops of the circles and to the space-off dot, so that mid-range area of the ice, he's very good. He's a little susceptible right in front of him, which most goalies are. Sam Reinhart has one of the best. He's really good in front of the net, especially on that Florida power play. Really good at tipping the puck, deflections. So I really like Sam Reinhart a lot in tonight's game to make an impact for a Florida team that I don't think they're shaking quite yet, but they being down 2-0 is a very uncomfortable spot for anyone to be in, and I don't think Florida wants to do that.
I find the power play point very interesting. How do you handicap that?
So, first of all, you want to look for teams who have a good power play. You also want to look for a possible opponent who might take penalties, which is another reason I thought a Florida power play, I expect to see some opportunities. I think Toronto might be looking for some retribution about what happened to their goaltender in game one. So I expect a few more power plays for Florida on their side. And the game's usually good at policing itself, and officiating will take over to that. But that went into my calculus in determining of which kind of what to look for. And Florida has a good power play. They were top 10 in the league during the regular season, so it's always a good trend to look at.
I'm gonna go down through the chat a little bit before we switch on to different games. First, Mark has a first goal scorer boost for Leafs Panthers. Any suggestions?
I would stick with the top guys when you're looking for goal scorers. So first line players, so that Matthews, Marner, Nye's line for Toronto. A player I didn't mention with Florida who I expect to make an impact at some point in this series is Carter Verhaeghe, a little lesser known player, but he plays on Florida's top line. And he always scores big goals. Like, it's just a innate thing. First of all, he's a volume shooter. He just shoots a lot on net. Not one of their more skilled players, but he always finds a way to score big goals. And the first goal tonight's going to be huge. It's that Toronto crowd was electric. They were. It's when you tune in to watch a Canadian market in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You usually get an electric crowd just because it's just so much fun for Canadian teams to be involved in the Stanley Cup playoffs this time of year. And that was no different. And I would think Florida would love to get on the board early to try to take that crowd out of it. So I would look at someone like Verhaeghe as someone that might be a first goal scorer option tonight.
Sean also said, do we think the 8 goals in game one reverts back to the under today?
Good question. I don't think so. That's one I came on here and telling you I don't expect goal scoring to stay up. This game, I just think all of the firepower on both sides, and the goaltender change for Toronto, I think that kind of leads to maybe the over. But it's I don't expect things to be tight. I expect there to be a lot of power plays. I expect there to be, 4 of the 8 goals were scored off the rush in game one. I anticipate that being a similar trend we'll see. That's most goals in the NHL, especially in the playoffs, are scored off the cycle, meaning that teams love to gain the zone, set up their offense. It's kind of like if you want to make an NBA comparison, it's like getting out, and instead of fast break points, you're getting into your half court offense. Hockey kind of does that same thing, and especially a team like Florida. Florida loves to score goals off the cycle. They love to dump the puck in, get after it, make a huge hit, recover that puck. No one did that better than Florida this year, and I expect that to be the same. With the goalie change, I just think that leans itself to maybe more goal scoring tonight than usual.
We've also got in the next game, this one is Dallas at Winnipeg. The series starts tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Before we even get to these props, how do you potentially handicap games differently in game one when we don't really have the sample size yet of a series versus how you might handicap them the rest of the way?
Yeah, great question. It may be a little bit of a case-by-case basis. These two teams played each other 4 times during the regular season, so I might look at those matchups. I was having this discussion earlier. It's really tough with this series in particular because it's such a good goalie matchup between Jake Ottinger of the Stars and Connor Hellebuck of the Jets. And Connor Hellebuck of the Jets has not been good. He's like broken. Yeah, as an analyst, I am very confused by the playoffs because you want to believe in the 82 game sample size that you have against just a 7 game sample in the playoffs, and you want to trust the one with a larger sample size. So I'll tend to believe that the real Connor Hellebuck is the one I saw that's going to win the Vezina Trophy, that's probably going to win the Hart Trophy for league MVP as a goaltender, which rarely happens. I tend to believe that's the goaltender.
So it's just a bad series.
That's what I'll say because I believe in 82 versus 7 in terms of a sample size. I also a lot of the goals he gave up were on high quality scoring chances. And I'm sure the Jets defense will tell you, hey, we have to be better in front of them. But it's not like he was giving up goals from the red line or anything like that. So he just didn't make saves that we see him usually make saves on. So I'll look at the regular season matchups between these teams, which went the Jets' way 3 out of 4 times, and kind of analyze that. But that's kind of, you're right, because game 1 is probably the most difficult game to handicap because you just don't really have much of a sample to go on.
Well, you're going to give these out for tonight's. These are the 4 props that you're looking at for this game. You've got a lot of goals being scored here in the first game of the series. Perfetti is what I'm assuming.
So this matchup is really great in particular because of how these teams got to this situation. I'll take you back to Dallas got here with the miraculous game 7 against the Avalanche. It was Mikko Rantanen that scored a hat trick in the 3rd period against his former team to get to the second round. The Jets, Cole Perfetti scored the latest game 7 tying goal in the history of the NHL, which was incredible. He's a very young player who the Jets were without Mark Scheifele, one of their best offensive players, and Perfetti got put onto that first line, and he played well. He's had 11 high danger shots, which is 3rd overall in the league in the playoffs. That's way above his average than he averaged in the regular season. And with Scheifele likely coming back tonight, we still don't know. Scott Arniel, the head coach of the Jets, was a little. He said everyone's a game time decision this morning when he spoke.
Oh, great! We love that.
Right, which is
it's just like the NBA. Awesome.
He did practice with his first line, so we anticipate him returning, which would move Perfetti back down to the second line. I still like his opportunities to score tonight at home, where most of his goals were scored during the regular season, and that's in a similar line of thinking with Kyle Connor, who had 12 points in the first round of the playoffs to tied for the league lead. I have to go look at my notes. He has 15 points in his last 7 home playoff games, which is absurd. 6 goals, 9 assists, which is great. So he's especially with the Jets starting at home, I kind of like his opportunity. We touched on Rantanen earlier. He just seems like he's turned it on the last 3 games. The Dallas is deploying an all players born in Finland first line with Mikko Rantanen, Rupe Hintz, and Michael Granlund. And that trio has outscored their opponents 4-1 in the last 3 games at 5-on-5, which is great. And I like any of those 3 options where I see them. If Dallas is going to get off to a good start, I think it's going to have to be led by that line. Dallas could get Jason Robertson back in the lineup tonight, which is one of their big key offensive performers as well. And that Dallas would just, I used this example the other day. They remind me of Noah's Ark. They have 2 of everything or 3 of everything. They're just so deep.
I've never heard of someone make that reference. It's amazing.
It's a very unique thing. They're out without their best defenseman, Miro Heiskanen, and they just replaced him with Thomas Harley, and they don't miss a beat. It's just a very advantageous thing for a coach to have when you have multiples, and Dallas is so deep that they could throw that out there. And so that's the Stars. The other thing that I wanted to mention, the Stars have lost their last, I think it's the last 7 game 1s. They've lost them all, which is just a weird stat that, you have to play a lot of game 1s for that streak to happen. I don't know if that means anything. I really don't think one series leads to the next, but to lose 7 straight games.
It's like, hey, I'm going to we're going to do best out of 3 in a pool game, and you let them win the first game in pool, decide to make them you let them blow you out. They're like, oh, double the money. Great. And then you destroy them.
That might
Stars like wait and see.
maybe the Stars are playing 5D chess and like they're just gonna that's their we'll go down 1-0 because we don't care and then like give
Do you think it makes a difference that they're at home in front of their home crowd?
I do. I have this is like a long argument that everyone within the NHL offices will have. Home ice in the playoffs has meant really nothing the last couple of years, especially recently. There's it's like 51 wins versus 49 wins the last 100 times a home team has played. It really hasn't really meant much. Dallas has a very unique building. The fans are like right on top of you. There's a lot of them. They have one of the highest capacities in the league. The fact that they don't start, the fact that they're not starting this series at home, I don't think it really means much. They started at home in the first round and needed Game 7 in order to get here. I don't think they're going to be really impacted by starting on the road. I will say this about Winnipeg. That's another Canadian market who loves hockey. There's really probably not much to do other than watch hockey at this time of year. All the fans wear white, so it's a white out. It's a great visual for us on TV to watch, but I don't think it'll impact much of Dallas's players.
And why do you like these props for Hintz and Rantanen?
Hintz is one of the fastest players in the league. I don't think a lot of people know that. He's got the second most 20-mile-per-hour speed bursts, but right behind Connor McDavid in the playoffs. So he's a really fast player. I think he puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and especially with that old finish line. They're all shooters. So I certainly like Hintz's opportunities to get shots on net in particular tonight against Winnipeg, who, look, they know as much as we do. Connor Hellebuck might be dealing with a little bit of confidence issue too. I think their plan of attack and their strategy is going to be shoot from everywhere. So that line of thinking makes me think Hintz might be a good opportunity for a shot on goal tonight.
I like it. These are the futures odds, by the way, for the Stanley Cup winner. We've seen the Carolina Hurricanes stay out in front this entire time, yet the Dallas Stars have now moved up a lot on the list. Florida, you would have thought maybe with the win over Tampa would have moved up even more, but they really didn't. Who stands out to you?
So I'll give you one.
You look like you're about to do something really evil.
So Edmonton's been my pick since the start. So the fact that I can get him at almost 4-1 now seems good. They won Game 1 last night over Vegas on the road. Edmonton, I think I told you this last time I was on. What Edmonton does is they get to the front of the net and create high danger shots better than anybody. And the comparison I'll make is they're like a football team that gets into the red zone a lot. Maybe they don't score, maybe they have to kick field goals, but you want to bet on a team that gets to the red zone a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what Edmonton does. They get to the front of the net. They have so much skill with McDavid and Draisaitl and Bouchard, and they just have so much skill and talent that they generate offense so great. What the key was yesterday was they only allowed 3 high danger shots against yesterday. So they're playing really good in front of their own net and really good in front of the opponent's net. And that combination is really tough to beat. We saw them go to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final last year just to lose. They're extra motivated. I really love the Oilers, and to get them at 4-1 seems like good odds.
Interesting. So it's funny because everyone's probably looking at the Caps, and I'm sure Vegas is swamped with Golden Knights futures at 10-1 now. How much do you see these public teams making it further than this round?
So Washington is this will be a very tough series for them. I was a little encouraged after last night's game to see them be out. Everyone's going to look at the shots on goal and the shot attempts and see that Carolina's going to do that to everybody. That's just kind of their structure. They love to shoot from everywhere, so they're going to put on more shot attempts and more shots on goal. What I thought Washington did a good job is they got quality shots against Carolina, and I didn't know how much they would be able to do that And Freddie Anderson, who's Carolina's goaltender coming back from injury, just played great. He played great. He probably stole that game from them. And Carolina they were trailing with 11 minutes to go in the third period before tying it up and then winning in overtime on kind of a fluky goal that you don't expect Logan Thompson to give up. I thought Logan Thompson was great too. I thought both goalies in yesterday's game played really well. Washington, they have Ovechkin. They didn't really have too many power play opportunities to get Ovechkin going yesterday. That might change as the series goes on. Washington was a great road team, so I don't think they're going to be afraid to go into Carolina and play really well. Washington is, look, I'm kind of surprised to see that the public's kind of jumping away from them so much. I still think they have a real shot to win that series against Carolina, but it's going to be tough. They're going to have to get that offense moving a little bit more and really study game one to how they could beat Freddie Anderson, because he goalied them yesterday pretty bad.
And Carolina's the 1-0 series lead. That one will be tomorrow, 7 p.m. in the nation's capital. Troy Perlowitz, thank you so much for coming on again. And please let everybody know where they can get all the info on a daily basis from you.
Well, I'm at Troy_Pearl, but also follow at NHL Fantasy. We have some great nuggets and great information for you, and we love to interact. So thanks so much for having me on. It was it's always fun.
Thanks so much, Troy Perlowitz. Give him a follow. See you again soon.
Take care.
Okay, I'm finally figuring out this transition of guest versus me. NBA time. I'm just getting rid of some of this hockey stuff. For anyone that missed the interview with Troy Perlowitz, he was just on for the last 20 minutes talking all things you need to know about the Stanley Cup playoffs for tonight. If you missed it, go to the YouTube page at Prop Queen Sports, subscribe. You can go back and watch every episode so you don't miss an edge in the props market. Time to get to some edges, by the way. Starting with the Knicks and the Celtics, that game starting at 7 p.m. Yeah, I was making sure about the 7:30. 7 p.m. Eastern time. They are in Boston for game 2. The Knicks are up 1-0 in the series. Some trends to watch for the games tonight. Starting with the Knicks, Miles Bridges. So their small forward, he's gone over his points prop of 13.5 points in 3 of 4 regular season matchups against the Celtics, including both the games in Boston. This prop has gone up since the morning newsletter at thepropqueen.com. That's why I send out a morning newsletter to the premium subscribers. This prop has gone up from 13.5 to 14.5. If you want to take the zigzag approach, Mikal Bridges did not go over this in game 1. However, he's gone over this in majority of games against the Celtics this year. He's worth a look for over 13.5 points. OG Anunoby, he's an under I would take. Put up 29 in game 1. But in the regular season, Anunoby didn't put up more than 13 points against the Celtics. His prop's 16.5. It feels just a bit too high for me. I would look to the under on OG. If it comes to Jalen Brunson, I know a lot of people, he's Superman. He's been unbelievable, Jalen Brunson, throughout the playoffs. However, in the games in Boston in the regular season, Brunson only put up 22 points in both those games. Boston's got a really good defense. Porzingis, he only played 13 minutes in game 1. Porzingis is probable to play tonight. I'm not playing any rebounds props solely because I don't know what's going on with him. They said he's probable with an illness. Only played 13 minutes game 1. I don't want to take any risks on the boards with these props. If Porzingis is there, though, the defense gets better for Boston. I'm staying away from Jalen Brunson props. You go back to Brunson points overs when they get back to Madison Square Garden. These are the 2 players I'd be zoning in on. Overs on Bridges points, unders on Anunoby points. Star player alert for the Celtics. If you want to bet on a star player tonight, not named Jalen Brunson, it's Jason Tatum. This dude has put up 30 or more against the Knicks in 3 of 4 regular season games. He has destroyed the Knicks this year. He was destroying the Knicks, Tatum, for the first half of the game in game 1 of the series. then put up 2 points in the fourth quarter. That shouldn't happen again. The Celtics aren't going back to the Garden down 0-2. I know that sounds like such a lame cap. That would be like insanity. I would also bet if that does happen, that the Knicks somehow blow it, losing like 4 straight. However, Jason Tatum would be the player I would watch tonight over his points prop of 27.5. It's actually gone up since the morning newsletter from 27.5 to 28.5. You can also look at Tatum over assists. He only had 6 in game 1. However, he had 10 and 9 in the other Boston home games against the Knicks this year. His assist prop also on the rise, Tatum, from 5.5 to 6.5. The other guards on the team, the guards on the team, Tatum's a small forward. The guards on the team, Jaylen Brown and Derek White. So Jaylen Brown has had at least 23 points in all the Celtics home games against the Knicks, including game 1 of this series. His points prop 21.5. Brown's terrible at Madison Square Garden. He had 12 and 6 points. If you're going to take Brown overs, just take him in Boston. Celtics point guard Derek White, he has very good numbers against the Knicks this year. He put up 19 in game 1, 24, 17, 19, and 14 points against the Knicks this year. That 14-point game for Derek White was at Madison Square Garden. He's gone over this 15.5 points prop White in all the home games this year in Boston against the Knicks. Those would be the Celtics props. Late game, the Denver Nuggets. They're up 1-0 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Before I even get to what I have listed here, keep an eye on the Jokic over rebounds plus assists any night but tonight. Tonight, it's very fishy. Jokic has a 22.5 rebound plus assist prop. He's gone over this number in 4 of 5 matchups against Oklahoma City, including game 1. Yet this is so low, it's even dropped to 21.5. If you go with the zigzag theory, because he had 28 in game 1, he's not going to do it in game 2, but then he'll do it again in game 3. Just keep in mind the over rebounds plus assists for Nikola Jokic. Christian Braun is very interesting. So he had 13 rebounds in game 1. However, in the 2 regular season games in Oklahoma City, Braun had just 3 and 5 rebounds. His rebound prop's 5.5. Would look to Braun, less rebounds, more scoring. His points prop's 11.5 Braun. He's gone over that number in all 4 regular season matchups. He had just 11 points in game 1 of this series. Braun's a good buy low spot, especially with a banged up Michael Porter Jr. He's got a shoulder injury, hasn't looked the same, very inconsistent. I have to mention it though, just because I like to give you as much information as possible when talking about the NBA playoffs. When it comes to any prop, I just like to give you all the info so you can make the best decision for yourself. If you would like to be a masochist, you could look to MPJ over 10.5 points. Against Oklahoma City this year, Michael Porter Jr. has put up at least 15 points in all 4 games. Again, he's banged up. He's been inconsistent. Obviously, this number is low for a reason. I'm just saying. He's got good numbers against OKC. Thunder trends for tonight. It's like Thunder Buddies. I keep thinking about like Thunder Buddies and Ted. Thunder trends. If you're looking for SGA props, his points prop's too high for me. Sure, he's put up 25 or more against the Nuggets in every game this season, and that's why his points prop is 32.5, a number that he has gone over in 1 game this year in the regular season. He had 33 in game 1, but then in the regular season, he went over 32.5 points 1 time. It was at home posting 40. Can he do it? Sure. Am I taking the under? No. I will take the under on SGA's assist prop, 7.5. It would not surprise me if he went under so he could focus on putting up points so that Oklahoma City doesn't go down 0-2 to the Nuggets going on the road. SGA had 8 assists in game 1. He went under 7.5 assists in 3 of the 4 games in the regular season against the Nuggets. Zigzag theory. Went over in game 1, should go under in game 2. Chet Holmgren. This prop actually went up. It was 7.5 this morning. It's now up to 8.5 since the newsletter was posted. Chet has a rebounds prop. Let's just say it was 7.5 like it was this morning. Chet had 8 or more boards in 3 of 4 regular season matchups with the Nuggets. Chet did not go over this in game 1. He had just 6 rebounds. So with the number at 7.5, Despite the bad performance in game 1, the books are telling me he's confident. They're confident in Chet Holmgren's numbers from the regular season. Isaiah Hartenstein could have an impact on that, but the fact this is going up tells me, okay. But I like the 7.5 because he's had a few 8s. So over 7.5 for Chet is what I took this morning. Before I move on to baseball, because I know everyone loves baseball, where is... Oh, I couldn't find it. Okay, now we go. Sticking with the NBA, we've got some propaganda. Propaganda. So these are the most bet-on props over at BetMGM in the NBA playoffs tonight. Karl Anthony Towns over 18.5 points. No, thank you. Not against Kristaps Porzingis. Also, Cat has been very inconsistent, so I really didn't care for this. Derek White over 20.5 points plus rebounds. I mentioned that his points intrigued me. I was just not betting anything rebounds related because of the, who the hell knows about Kristaps Porzingis. Jason Tatum over 26.5 points. I like that. That number is on the rise. Jalen Brunson under 3.5 rebounds. I don't know anything. I don't really care. Mikal Bridges under 4.5 rebounds. It's minus 190, so who really cares? Nuggets OKC player props that are the most bet on props over at BetMGM. SGA over his rebounds plus assists is minus 180, so I don't care. SGA over rebounds, minus 180, I don't care. Christian Braun over 19.5 points, rebounds plus assists. Intriguing. I like his over points, so I guess that kind of correlates. Jalen Williams under 1.5 3-pointers at plus 115, and Cason Wallace under 5.5 points. So interesting sometimes. The public really just intrigues me. I have another propaganda for Major League Baseball, and now I'm going to have to try to not make an idiot of myself with figuring out which games have happened already and which ones haven't. I was paying somewhat attention, but only to my props, which is always the problem. I pay attention to what I bet on, and then I forget that I have to host a show. So Quinn Priester pitched already. The Pirates ended up losing that game 5-0. Quinn Priester. Oh, he's not even on the Pirates anymore. I'm an idiot. Quinn Priester. Gosh, why am I so out of this right now? Is he even pitching today? I didn't even see Quinn Priester. That's so confusing. Okay, sorry, guys. Clearly, I'm not prepared at all. He's on the Brewers. Gosh, I forgot. They lost 9-1, so he got lit up. Quinn Priester. Yeah, sorry, guys. He got traded from the Pirates. He was on the Pirates last year. 5 innings, 3 strikeouts, 1 earned run. So it wasn't even him. So he did. He went under 2.5 pitcher earned runs, minus 160. He only allowed 1 earned run. It was the Brewers bullpen that allowed a ton of runs. Elvin Rodriguez came in relief after Priester went 5. 3 1/3, he gave up 6 earned runs. Yikes. Freddie Freeman over 1.5 total bases. That game is happening right now against the Miami Marlins. So Freddie Freeman, currently 1-2. He had a single. So you need 1 more for Freddie Freeman over 1.5 total bases. Mitch Keller over 3.5 Ks. He pitched today. That was the Pirates-Cardinals game. Mitch Keller had 6 strikeouts today, so congratulations. I don't know why you got... That was a 4.5 strikeout prop, not a 3.5, but minus 165. That's freaking nuts. I did handicap this one. Mitch Keller... I'm pretty sure... Oh, no. So, yeah, the Cardinals. That's actually interesting because the Cardinals are averaging just over 4 strikeouts a game this year, which is pretty low. 17 of the 27 righty starters to start against the Cards went under their K-prop going into today. So that was an interesting over. So good job to everyone who bet it. Jose Ramirez over 0.5 home run. And then Grant Holmes over 5.5 Ks. I mentioned this strikeout prop in the newsletter for the afternoon newsletter that's coming out at a little after 6 o'clock tonight. The line's moving in favor of Atlanta. It moved 10 cents in favor of Atlanta, and I'll see if it's still at minus 120 on FanDuel. The Atlanta Braves, yep, minus 120, so it's still there. Line's moving in favor of Atlanta. Then you also have a pitcher like Grant Holmes who hasn't pitched against any high K rate lineups yet this year. Every team he's faced, low K rate. No one has struck out as much as the Cincinnati Reds, who Holmes has faced. Yet he had 9 strikeouts against the Dodgers, 7 against Minnesota, 6 against the Phillies. Those are good lineups. Better than the Reds, who are extremely banged up. Righties, 13 and 10 over under their K-prop. So 13 of the 23 have gone over their K-prop, averaging about 5 strikeouts a start. With the numbers that Holmes has had at home, and these are his home strikeouts, by the way. 6 against the Phillies in 4 innings, 7 against the Twins in 5 2/3, 9 against the Dodgers in 6 innings. Those are his home numbers, and those aren't even high K rate teams. I do agree, over 5.5 Ks for Grant Holmes tonight. Juan Soto, 2 home runs today. Wow, great job, Juan. I have to do a switch out. Oh, I meant to show this tweet before. This is horrible producing by me. Horrible. But I'm going to put this up. I thought this tweet was hilarious. Going back to basketball real quick. Pacers are going to be the first team to win a championship, aired on ESPN2. Solid tweet, Danny Goodwin. That is hilarious. That was the first thing I said after the Pacers got the dub. I said, oh no. The last thing the association wants is for it to be Pacers Celtics. Pacers like Knicks, but Pacers Celtics? Blown out. Like that could be a sweep. Ugh. So yeah, congrats to the Pacers on beating up a banged up Cavs team. That's great. There were a lot of really funny tweets today out there. I saw this one going back to baseball, which had me laugh. And I met Mike Elias. He's very nice. The Orioles are an absolute disaster. Thought this tweet was funny, all relative to what's going on. Orange smoke coming from the Orioles scoreboard hopefully means a new GM has been chosen, like the Pope. It's funny. I laughed. Oh, thank you. Super show. I'm impressed, and subscribe for more. Thank you so much. I just thought this was a really funny tweet. And it's funny to me because I actually was the idiot that went to Foxwoods preseason, was sitting at a blackjack table. It came up what I do for a living because people are always impressed that I know how to play blackjack correctly. Guys like, oh, you work in sports betting. Who's a long shot that I should put money on for winning the World Series? I'm the idiot that said the Orioles because they don't need pitchers because 2 years ago they won the American League without pitchers. Well, the regular season, 1 seed. Dumb me. I just keep thinking about that guy. Like I keep thinking that guy's probably like, that girl's an idiot. Anyway, so yep, that happened with the Orioles. Just kidding. There's no new GM, but I just thought it was a funny tweet with the whole like thing going on with the Pope. I also saw this, which annoyed me today. MLB is launching a new stat called the True Home Run, which will track balls that clear at least half of all Major League Baseball stadiums. Starting in 2026, players will have a separate home run total based on league-wide ballpark eligibility. This is freaking worse than the NBA pool report. Who the hell cares if it could have been a home run? That is such a fake trend. This was so stupid. Beyond stupid. Why do I care if Aaron Judge would have hit 10 more home runs this year? It doesn't count. It doesn't matter. This is false advertising. Dumb. Why do we care what could have been? I don't care what could have happened if the Yankees didn't have 18 errors in the 5th inning of the World Series. Who cares? They did, and they lost. The home run that's going into the hall, like the home run stats that go to the Hall of Fame are the real home run stats, not your fake ones. This is an irrelevant category that it's only going to piss people off. Just like the NBA poll report. Good job. So the Pistons get the no call on the Knicks game, and guess what? The Knicks move on and the Pistons are home or in like Cancun. No one cares of what could have been, would have been. Stupid. You're wasting your time, StatCast. You are wasting your time and you are wasting all of our energy. You are wasting our happiness. People say that we should be happy. People say that we shouldn't be so glass half empty. Well, guess what? Stupid crap like this is making us glass half empty. I don't care. I really, really don't care. That's my rant. Anyway, basketball is second because I'm a terrible producer and I hate producing. I forgot this. SGA, his scoring averages, regular season just under 33 points a game. Playoffs just under 29 points a game. SGA averaged just over 31 points a game coming off a loss this season. Speaking of irrelevant stats, that's this one because his points prop's 32.5. So if you want to compare something to the new true home run, which is stupid, it's just as stupid as this because SGA's prop tonight's 32.5. God, that got me way more heated than I thought I was going to be. What's modern day sport that's got to make up more stats because of AI? Made up stats are so stupid. We literally don't need made up stats. Anyway, I've got 3 Royal Locks today. Best bets of the day. Royal Locks. Oh no. Royal Locks. I had to add it in. Royal Locks of the day. So these are my best bets of the day, which is funny because now I think I talked myself more into liking the Brave starter Grant Holmes strikeout prop. But anyway, we're going to go with it. I'll probably bet both since I went 1-1 in strikeout props today. First strikeout prop, Texas Rangers right-hander Tyler Mahle over 4.5 Ks. Mahle's first start of the season was against the Red Sox. He only struck out 3 batters in 1 2/3 innings. That literally should not have happened. The Red Sox have a very high strikeout rate. They're averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game this season. And against other high K rate teams, there was only one other matchup for Mahle this year. Faced one other high K rate team, faced the Angels, had 9 strikeouts in 5 innings. Last year, Mahle pitched in Fenway, had 7 strikeouts in 4 2/3 innings against the Red Sox. There should be strikeouts galore. The Red Sox love to strike out. I'm going to go with the over 4.5 Ks on Tyler Mahle. On to basketball, the Knicks small forward, Mikal Bridges. He's gone over his 13.5 points prop in 3 of 4 regular season matchups against the Celtics, including both of the games in Boston. This is a zigzag approach. For a player that didn't go over the prop game 1, but he has multiple times throughout the regular season, Bridges over 13.5 points stands out the most to me in Knicks Celtics tonight. Chet Holmgren, I got a good number here because it's already gone up to 8.5, but I grabbed 7.5 in the PropQueen.com newsletter this morning. I mentioned it. Chet's had at least 8 rebounds in 3 of 4 regular season matchups with the Nuggets. Chet did not go over this in game 1. He grabbed just 6 boards. Yet he grabbed 6 boards and the number went up from 7.5 to 8.5. I'm going to take the over here against the Denver Nuggets. And when I say he's had at least 8 rebounds, it's in the regular season matchups against the Denver Nuggets. I had one funny story. So those are my best bets of the day. I wasn't sure if we've had a lot of time. We only had one guest today. So I did add like what we call in the TV world a kicker story. It's the funny like end of the show story of the day. The Milwaukee Brewers started a new hot dog club. So for just under $60 a month, you get a free hot dog at each game you attend. But a fan called out the team saying that they were charging $63, like a 63-cent sales tax on each hot dog. So the club members got that sales tax removed. Like we were talking about this stupid home run thing. Like that's stupid. This is actually kind of cool. Depending on how many games you go to. At Yankee Stadium, for example, a hot dog is like almost $10. I think it's like $9 or something for a stupid hot dog in the stadium. You can get it outside of the stadium for like $2, by the way. So if you do the math, and let's say $8 to $10, right? And you go to at least 8 to 10 games a year. Maybe you're a season ticket holder. You have some kind of package on season tickets. You get a free hot dog each game. I think it's a genius idea. $60 from a few thousand people makes them some money. You'll probably buy a second hot dog or you'll buy something else. But hey, if I had a season ticket package for like 12 games at least, this would 100%. If I know I'm going to eat a dog at each game, shout out to the Brewers, Brew Crew. Solid idea. As long as you're not ripping off your fans. Don't rip them off with like some stupid sales tax. Don't be StatCast. You can be a winner. Make sure to check out thepropqueen.com. Sign up to the newsletter. Did really well yesterday. Hopefully we do well again tonight. Thank you to Troy Perlowitz from NHL.com for coming on. In case you missed it, Troy Perlowitz segment, it's on the YouTube page at Prop Queen Sports. Please subscribe to the YouTube page at Prop Queen Sports. Please subscribe to the newsletter as well at thepropqueen.com. I'm the Prop Queen, Ariel Epstein. I'm going to go watch the Knicks tonight, have a little drink, and enjoy the rest of my night, hopefully cashing in some more winners. I hope you do too. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time.